If you're watching this video right now and you're Black, I want you to take a moment and watch this video all the way through. Anyone else, you can watch as well, but specifically this is for my Black community. As a Latino, as someone who is under DACA, as someone who, as you know, we're going through it right now, I want you to understand, and I even want other Latinos to understand, that they're gonna have us think that the issues that the Black community deals with and the issues that the Latino community deals with, or Indian or Asian or women or whoever minority group, they're going to have us believe that these issues are different and that Black people should only care about things that directly impact Black people. Latinos should only focus on things that directly impact Latinos, and so forth. And yeah, of course, I'm going to prioritize me, my family, and my people, and that's what I'm going to pay attention to. But do you understand that that way of thinking divides us? It puts us in a position where a small number of Latinos, and we're not small, but a smaller number of people can put pressure on our government, on those people who are not representing, misrepresenting us and taking advantage of us. They're making us weaker in order to be able to put pressure on them. Same way as when the Black community has to deal with a load of crap, because only Black people, for the most part, are worried about those issues, the numbers just divide us up. Do you know what would happen if we had the Black community rocking with us, protesting with us the way that we saw in LA yesterday? Can you imagine what those numbers would be? Can you imagine what would happen if Latinos came together and were out there protesting with the Black community when it comes to those Black issues? What we have to understand is that when one group of us is oppressed, that harms all of us. All of us. And by dividing up ourselves, the issues we pay attention to, into these little buckets, they make it to where our numbers are not as strong as if we were all united. So I think it's important to say, because the Latino issues that you're seeing right now, all of this crap that you're hearing, it's not a Latino issue and you don't have to worry about it as a Black person. It's going to affect you too. The same tactics they're using on us, they're going to use on you. And the same ones they're using on you, they're going to use on us. So what would happen if, instead of saying, oh, that's not my problem, or no, women problems are women's problems, it's not me as a man, if we all came together and said, there is one group of people at the top, and they are systematically trying to tear us apart, trying to take away our power, trying to take away our rights and give themselves more power, more money, whatever it is. If we just all focused on the problem and attacked the problem together, if we addressed them, if we went if we got engaged in our politics, if we protested peacefully, if we did what we had to do to apply pressure to the government together, to those who try and oppress us together, do you know the amazing things we could do? So my question is, how do we come together and how do we support one another? How do we get our numbers up so high to the point where we can't be ignored anymore? I think that we have to come together and we have to show each other support, because it's going to raise all ships. It's going to make us all be so much better off. But we have to work together. And I know, maybe same as Latinos, the Black community has a hard time organizing themselves as well, but it's in our best interest to come together and support one another, because these issues affect all of us. And when one group of people gets justice, it's easier for the other group and the other group and the other group. So let's stop dividing ourselves and let's unite and let's see how we can support each other, because that's the only way we're going to rise up. Okay. Over 3,500 views, over 150 comments, all pretty much saying the same thing. I learned that lesson. I hear you. It's given me the perspective I need, because, I mean, yeah, the numbers don't lie. We have to take care of us before we can ask anyone else to come in and support us. And specifically the Black community, which, after all the comments and all the replies and everything, I mean, yeah, the numbers are there. The data is there. The history is there. I mean, y'all unified. You guys showed up for each other. We're the ones that didn't show up for ourselves or for you. So to everyone who commented, thank you. Like, I am taking all of this, and I'm not pushing back because that's a perspective that I don't see because I'm in it, right? I'm surrounded by people who think like me, who see the problem like I do, but I don't think about all of the people who don't, all of the people who are within our own Latino group who voted against what is right for us and everyone. So it's hard to hear, it's hard to look at it that way, but it's 100% right. So I appreciate everyone who took the time to comment. I appreciate everyone who took the time to say it, because I'm just looking for a solution. I'm just looking for an answer. I'm just looking for a world in which you're not scared to exist and be who you are, regardless of who you are. But I understand the problems you're discussing. I understand the issues that you're pointing out. So, I'm here to learn. I'm here to figure out what my role is in this and how I can help create a future that I want with the limited power that I have as an individual. But, again, I'm so glad I made that video because it gave me that perspective that I needed, and just how, the Black community sees what's going on within us. So I hope that, everyone who commented continues to engage with me and other Latinos, and we can have a discussion, because I think that there's a lot that we can learn from you and how you mobilized. And, we need to do that. We need to catch up. So again, just incredibly thankful for all of the comments that just made it very clear, where I need to start and where some of us need to start with our messaging.
Why are so many Latinos racist against Black people? Good question. So first of all, let me start by acknowledging that's the truth. And anyone that says otherwise is not helpful in this whole conversation. Like white people saying, I don't see color. Secondly, race is just a construct that was invented by European people intended to divide us, which they successfully managed to do. And unfortunately, just like many other purposefully marginalized communities, we play along exactly into the narrative of letting them divide us. We all have that tío or abuelito or papa in our family that is racist, that is, has issues with Black people or Asian people, or is homophobic or transphobic. And most likely it's more family members than not. The issue is that it's really difficult to have these conversations. But we need to have these conversations with our own community. We need to call out, call in, and educate our own family members, our own friends. And too often I see Latinos stay silent. And they say, oh, that's just how he is. And yes, I use he a lot because it's a lot of times the man, at least in my experience. And if you live in LA, you probably know the scandal we recently had with the leaked audio. For me, the only scandal really was that so many Latinos that I know pretended that that's a surprise. Really? That's exactly like white people pretending that they're surprised that racism exists. There are so many issues in our Latino community, from being anti-Black to brown people calling themselves white. I mean, please identify as whatever you want, but it's weird. To light-skinned Latinos like myself, pretending that they have the same racism to deal with as a Black person. And then there is the whole other layer of not being Latino enough, not being Black enough, not being brown enough. It's like our community is so busy tearing each other down that we lost sight of who is actually doing the oppression here. I had a US-born friend here in LA whose both parents were Mexican, but she has never been to Mexico and she doesn't speak Spanish. And she told me that in her opinion, I wasn't really Mexican, which I thought was funny. And I immigrated as an adult. I'm not even first generation. I'm a Mexican immigrant in the United States. But to her, just because my mom was European, that was enough to tell me I wasn't actually Latina. And those are the same kind of people that pretend that all Latinos are brown and act like Afro-Latinos don't exist. It's time for all of us to unite, because together we're not the minority. We are the majority if we just have each other's back.
that needs to be said among Latinos, among the Latino community, especially among Chicano community, Mexican Americans, Latino Americans, okay? If it wasn't for Black culture, Black people, Black communities, Black leaders, Black artists, Black music, all of it, if it wasn't for that, we would have an entirely different experience in the United States. Here's the difference between Black folks and Latino folks. Black people in America, their ancestors fought for the rights that we all get to fucking enjoy right now. So many Latinos act like white folks just decided to give Latinos rights, just decided to let Latinos vote, just decided to put laws in place so that you could buy property. If it wasn't for Black leaders, Latinos wouldn't even be able to bring their kids to a public school. We have a lot of the privileges that we have today because of the Civil Rights Act, because of the Fair Housing Act, because of Voting Rights Act, which for those of you Latinos who voted for Trump, you're welcome. If you are Latino, you better recognize the gift that we were just handed from Black people. So it actually makes sense that more Latinos voted for this president because you didn't have to work for the rights that you were just handed. And don't worry, I will be talking about immigration too, but for right now, I just want to give Black people their flowers. I want to give Black artists their flowers. I want to give Black culture their flowers, because if it wasn't for them, I would not be who I am.
Welcome back. So in this video, these Latinos call for unity between the Latino community and the Black community. And they are calling for other group of people, that is minorities in the United States of America, to join hands with all of them so that whenever they take a decision, they will be able to follow through and then progress and move towards a single cause. Now, before the 2024 elections, Black Americans have always advised minority groups in order to come together and forge for a common purpose or a common goal in their line of interest. The majority of these minority groups did not heed to this advice, and then they voted in Donald Trump, who has also implemented the mass deportation policy, which has affected a lot of these minority groups. Black Americans were not affected, but other minority groups like Latinos, Mexicans, Cubans, Asian Americans, other minority groups were really heavily hit. Now, it is after this that Latinos have now come to the realization that all what Black Americans were saying was true, and so they need to come together in order to fight for a common interest. Now, some of them even recognize that it is because of the effort of Black Americans that Latinos and other minority groups are able to have certain rights in the United States of America. Talk of the voting rights and other rights that they enjoy in the United States of America. It was fought for by Black blood, and some of them have come to the realization of this. Black people have always been oppressed in this country for far so long, and so they know how it feels like to go into any form of oppression. So whenever they sense anything like that, they warn other minority groups, but some of these minority groups do not heed to the advice because some of them think that they have some proximity to whiteness. They are a little bit close to whiteness. So they think that being close to being white would save them, and in the end it turns out not to be so. They are always not being saved by their proximity to whiteness. Now, majority of these Latinos are now coming to the realization that they need to form alliances, they need to form bonds with Black community and other minority groups so that they will be able to forge forward and fight for a common interest or a common goal. This is the same message that Black Americans have preached over the years, but majority of them never heeded to it. It is now becoming evident, and now they are beginning to accept. Even though some Latinos do not like Black people, and just as the lady stated that within every family you will get some people who are not or who do not like Black people, if they are able to educate their community very well and take out all these negative energies in them against Black people, they can form an alliance with Black people so that they will be able to fight for a common purpose and a common goal. I think this call is very important. Black people have always called for this. It is now time that Latinos are realizing and also calling for this. So I believe that if they come together, this will be a win-win situation, and this will help to foster the interests of all these minority groups in the United States of America. Let me know what you also think about this video in the comment section below, and don't forget to share this video with your friends and your family on other social media platforms like WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, and other social media platforms. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Just click the subscribe button down here. Click on the subscribe button. Click as well on the notification bell. And I'd like to see you again in my next video.